So I binged a new show yesterday, the same show for the second time in the span of a week. I think it's safe to say that I'm a little bit obsessed with it right now. Actually, when I'm obsessed with something, I try to recommend it to everyone I know. And I found myself in a predicament when I tried to do that. I couldn't describe the show. Like, I couldn't say what it was about. I felt like whatever I'd say wouldn't do it justice. I just couldn't boil it down to one phrase. It just didn't fit in any box. So this is the premise of the show. Shah Lateef, an out-of-work actor, goes through an existential crisis after auditioning to play James Bond. And then his life starts spiraling out of control. Going into the show, I was definitely not expecting it to be so complex and layered, heartfelt at times, and hilarious and deep and thought-provoking. It really gets in touch with the breadth of emotions you feel and translates into various genres. It's a kind of show that sounds straightforward at first, but it unfolds into something way more complex the longer you sit with it. I think the creator of the show sums it up best when he explains why he named the show Bait. It's one pretty simple sounding word, but because of his background, he sees so many different connotations attached to it.
Bait is London slang for being really blatant and attention-seeking, right? Yeah. Bait online means trolling, right? And provoking someone. Yeah, bait in Urdu and Hindi means your loyalty or your allegiance. Bait in Arabic and Hebrew means home or family. And bait in a spy thriller, of course, means something used as part of a trap.
That one word really captures the whole experience of the show, like what you're going in to get. It's made of a lot of different compartments that work together to make this very authentic, whole feeling world. The first aspect that I want to talk about, and the one that really resonated with me, was the cultural and family aspect of the show. There's a very specific rhythm to how Shah and his family communicates. The constant switching between Urdu and English isn't treated like a moment or something that's to be translated for the audience. Rather, it just is, and the show captures it perfectly. It's fluid, natural, and almost musical in a way. The conversations overlap, the tones shift mid-sentence, and jokes land differently depending on the language being used. It feels less like a scripted dialogue and more like you've been plucked out of your reality and dropped into the living room of a brown household. And let me just say, one of my favorite parts of the show was definitely Gus Khan and his delivery. He plays the main character's cousin, and he's so funny. Like, he lands every single joke, and he just has this on-screen presence. He just steals the scene every time he's in the frame.
Shah, are you going to be the next James Bond?
What? James Bond is white.
I think that's part of the reason why it's so effective. Like, I never sensed like that the show was trying to explain itself. It trusts its audience to infer and draw its own conclusions from their own life experiences. As someone who's from the same background as the main character, I'm Pakistani, the familiarity of it all really struck a chord with me. There's a specific type of tension in a Desi household where care and control are intertwined, and Bait definitely captures this perfectly. Shah's family clearly loves him, but that love is translated by passive-aggressive remarks, and it comes with expectations, judgment, and constant awareness of how he represents them. A scene that captures this perfectly is when Shah is filming his apology video when he's at prayer. While his family is engaged in something grounding and spiritual, Shah is isolated in another room, trying to carefully construct how he's perceived online. He's literally choosing performance over presence, caring more about how strangers on the internet see him rather than connecting with his family and his faith. And he's quickly met with the consequences of his actions. Because while he's caught up curating this perfect internet presence, he misses something real, his father getting sick. What follows is a confrontation between him and his whole family, and it happens in front of the whole community. That tension that's building privately between them suddenly becomes public, and all of a sudden, he's not just disappointing his family, he's being an embarrassment to them. And that's where the cultural weight really hits. There's a moment where Shah tells his family, "Why are you telling me to get out? I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for you guys so nobody sees you as a dirty packy." But it's so ironic because he's really not doing it for them. He's just doing it for himself, and he's built this whole narrative in his head that he needs to do this, and this is gonna represent his people. He needs to represent. But constantly before this, we've been seeing him push his own people under the rug just to be in the spotlight. If we further look into the significance of the scene, it really demonstrates the stark difference between Shah's perceived reality versus his actual reality. And this is the key moment that causes him to spiral out of control, kind of start losing his mind. Like, his life kind of starts spiraling out of control after this moment, because he's really at battle with himself. Because all the choices he was making for himself, thinking he's doing something good for his community, uplifting his community, come kind of crashing down at him in that confrontation with his family, because he sees, like, he's not really doing shit for his family. And he does say it in front of everyone, like, "Oh, you guys aren't doing shit. I'm doing all this for you." But because he starts to lose it all, like, kind of loses his mind after that moment, it becomes clear that he doesn't really believe what he's saying anymore. He has to face his actual reality and realize that he really ain't shit. He's really just doing it for himself. This all kind of comes full circle at the end when Shaw goes through this whole like mental breakdown with the pig's head and everything, where he thinks the pig is talking to him. The pig's head even says it directly to him that you're not doing it for everyone else, you're just doing it for yourself. Like, representing is just getting to the top and hiring a few people who look like you. That's it. Like, getting the bag, essentially. It all ties back in the end when he recovers in the hospital and goes to find his brother Zulfi and actually apologize to him. It all happens in a funny way, but it connects back to this internal conflict that Shaw has, and he really resolves it, I think, by connecting back with his brother and apologizing, and then going to the audition. And in the end, when he's asked to say his name, he says, the name's Shah Jahan, which is very wholesome, because throughout the series he was correcting people and saying his name is just Shah, I just go by Shah, but he really embraces his identity and everything that comes with it at the end, including like his family, his cultural, and all the burdens that come with that. It's very interesting to see that dynamic play out, and I think Riz Ahmed captures it beautifully. Like, it's so funny how like 5 minutes before that I was like dying of laughter, because it's a pretty funny episode, and like all of a sudden that whole confrontation scene happens and I'm like about to shed a tear. It's amazing how the show is able to balance those two emotions without it just feeling like, oh, like this is so abrupt, like I was just here and now I'm here. It doesn't feel like you're being pushed around. It's more like a wave, like you're like surfing, like, you know, like you go from one emotion to another emotion and it's all woven together perfectly. It never feels abrupt or rushed. Okay, moving on to the romance aspect of the show. This wasn't a big theme throughout the show, but it was there was one whole episode with his ex-girlfriend who wrote like a negative article about him, and after the conflict with his family, he kind of like hunts her down at her favorite restaurant, and he kind of comes off as like a big asshole in the beginning. Like, he's kind of manipulative, like defensive, and he keeps lying. Like, he lies a lot. This is like a repetitive theme in the story. He just lies, and you could tell why his ex doesn't mess with him. Like, he comes off as very, like, as a distasteful person. But as we see the story progressing, as we see the episode going on, his ex-girlfriend loses her bag, and then they're, like, moving throughout, like, the block, like, hunting it down, like, tracking it with the AirPods. And though it's kind of hectic, like, a lot of it is one shot. There's long one takes. It's like, I think the first one take is 7 minutes from the beginning of the episode, and then it keeps happening throughout. And it kind of builds up this tension, and even though they're like moving throughout the city, like it's kind of hectic, like a lot of things are happening, it feels very grounded, and both of the characters feel very fully realized despite the short amount of time you have with them. Like, for Shaw, we've known him for 3 episodes, but that was only 20 minutes each. Like, it's I guess it's not that long, you know. Usually for shows we have 1 hour episodes, but this was a 20-minute episode, and you already feel very connected to the character. And then with his ex-girlfriend Yasmin, she feels very fully realized too. Like, even though you just met her like 5-7 minutes in, like you kind of understand her character, and she feels very real. And what I really liked is they have really good chemistry, but they're not touching or anything, or they're like not like overtly flirting. They have this rhythm. They're like kind of going back and forth, and their conversations carry the amount of history they have, and it was very enjoyable to watch. You slowly see him winning her over and understand why they were in a relationship. If they were like clashing so much in the beginning, you see now why like they were together, and it's kind of like a back and forth. Like some conflicts arise, and then you see, oh, okay, this is why. You kind of understand their dynamic of their relationship that's ended. Like, okay, like he's kind of an asshole, but he's charming, but he's a liar, and he does this and that. I personally really liked it. It was a very engaging and enjoying watch, and I wish that episode was longer because it felt too short. Like, it was 20 minutes, but it felt more like 10, you know? I really liked that episode. Episode 4 and 5 feel very kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Like, they're stylically, is that a word? They're kind of different. They're shot in a different way. Like, as I was saying, it was long one takes in episode 4, and then episode 5 is like stuff just keeps happening. Like, this happens, that happens, and you go there, and like you keep moving throughout the setting of the story, and like you engage with the different settings and the characters. And I while watching that, I couldn't help but think about movies like Good Time and Marty Supreme, like where shit just keeps happening. Like, you can't really describe it easily in like a sentence, but like shit just keeps happening, and it's very it's like a thriller, but like it's also everything else. It's like a documentary. Yeah, that's what it is. It's like a documentary. You're just following around these characters in their daily lives, and that's what it feels like. Their life is just unfolding in front of you. It doesn't feel very curated or like written in a script. Generally, the whole show feels like that, but I think it's very specific in those 2 episodes where like shit just keeps happening. So I really enjoyed that. I look up to filmmakers like the Safdie brothers who make those kinds of movies, and then seeing someone from my own community make something like that, and the setting is in my community as well. It felt very heartwarming, and I felt very seen while watching the whole show, and I honestly loved every part of it. Like, I'm like glazing the hell out of the show, but I really enjoyed it. I liked every aspect. I wanted to talk about some, like, constructive criticism, but I have no notes. Like, I actually have no notes. Like, I wasn't ever thinking throughout the show, like, oh, why is this like that? By the end of the show, it becomes clear that the show is not about James Bond or getting the role. Rather, it's about what chasing something like that does to you. And I don't know who the quote is originally from, but I heard it from an interview by Riz Ahmed where he says something along the lines of, the distance between your public and personal persona describes the amount of shame that you carry. And I really think the show exists somewhere in between the amount of shame you carry and deciding to go left or right, you know? And I think it's very relatable to, not even taking out the cultural aspect, it's very relatable to anyone in this day and age with social media. I feel like everyone's always putting on a performance online, like, and doing things like just for the gram, you know? It could be from something as little as like taking a pic of your meal before you post it, which, guilty, like, I literally take pics of every single meal. I'm not calling anyone out, but it goes from that to, like, I see people like life-changing events, like your grandma dies, like, you're posting it on your story. Why are you posting it on your story, you know? Like, I kind of understand why someone would do that, but at the same time, it's like, do you want attention? Are you doing this for attention? Is this for the curated, like, public feed? Like, you're trying to sell an image? So yeah, like, that battle one would have between, am I doing this for, like, a persona, or am I doing this because this is really me? That struggle is very well captured in this show. So yeah, 10 out of 10. No notes. I would recommend it to literally everyone, but especially, like, if you're from the diaspora, like South Asian diaspora. Like, I really felt seen while watching this, but I want to hear thoughts from people who aren't, like, South Asian or Pakistani or Muslim, and what they thought of it. Did they connect to it? I saw some people on, like, TikTok who were like, I saw, like, a mixed person saying, like, that they really connected with it, and they also felt like there was, like, a rhythm to it, and I felt the same. So it's really interesting to see different perspectives on it, because it's very specific and it's very culturally specific. So feel free to comment down below if you watched the show and your thoughts, and if you didn't watch the show, yeah, definitely watch it. And yeah, comment down below if you enjoyed the video, and if there's anything else like this you want to see in the future. And yeah, let's just have a conversation. So feel free to reach out to me, and I'll see you guys next time.